Welcome to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to use Gwenpar. So Gwenpar is actually this assistance. For example, you've seen here, I've been able to create like so many agents. This is a full stack agent that is actually building a full stack application. So look at how beautiful this website looks like. They were all being built by this full stack agent you're seeing here. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up your own full stack engineer that will perform at par with my own. So in my setup here, I'm actually using GLM 5.1. I also have a host of local models as well from LM Studio and Open Router that I'm actually using to get job done. So I have a couple of about 22 agents that are helping me write Rust and do a lot of other things. So let's dive into it. So this is one of the simplest agentic app that you can ever install. So the quick start is so simple. One of the things you see here quickly when you come here is that you can just download the desktop app, which is actually a one-click install. And when you install it on your Mac, you can start using it. So let me show you an example of how the desktop app look like. So this is the desktop app. It's actually a desktop app. And you could see I could manage my models. You have agent management. Don't worry, as you keep on holding on to this video, I'm going to show you this complete setup. I'm going to show you how to maximize, how to set it properly to actually work for you while you sleep, and also how to connect it to Telegram so that you can even be working while you are away. So let's look at how to get started. So in the desktop app, all you need to do is come here to view downloads. So when you come here, you will actually be able to see the links to actually download it. So you could see here that depending on your operating system, so you can download. This is the latest version here. So you just click download. So when you download, it's going to give you a kind of like um so this app. So what you're seeing here is what you get. So I can open it here. So when I open it on the Finder, so you see it here. So when I extract it, I'm going to actually get the Gwenpar app. So you can see it's done expanding. So all you need to do is drag this app into your application. So if you're using Mac, but if you're using Windows, you have to also download the Windows installer and install as well. When you install it, it comes packed. So if you look at it here, so this is packed. The desktop app is it comes along with, look at what it is, a standalone bundle with your Python environment, all dependencies and front-end assets. So you just double click to run and that is it. So that's if you choose this approach. But if you prefer to be on the command line to set it up to see the web client. So the web client is also this. So I can also set it from localhost 8088 slash chat. So you could see this is the web client. So if you want to have both, just like I have this setup, you need to run either the pip install here or you need to run the script. So I personally I prefer the script. So depend irrespective of the operating system that you operate in, Windows or Mac OS or Linux, just take this script. So you see, and then all you need to do is run it on your OS. So let me show you how you get that. Let's search for terminal here. So we're just going to go for terminal, and then we're going to use like this terminal app. So and all we need to do here is just run that script. So I'm just going to paste here that URL you're seeing, and then I press enter. So this is going to install Gwenpar on your machine. So this is all you need. It's one of the easiest. So you either choose to download the desktop app or you use the Gwenpar script that you see here. And that's going to be it. And then the next thing is actually running this Gwen init defaults. And then you do the Gwenpar app. So the way to start the app is after the script is done installing, so we give the script some time to be done installing. As you can see here, it already found my environment and you see it's installing Gwenpar. So as simple as that. So you have Gwenpar being installed. So Gwenpar has been successfully installed. So when it's installed, all you need to do is for first time setup, you see, or if you already have Gwenpar, you just need to start it by doing Gwenpar app. So when you do that, you're going to have this web console application. So you either choose to use the web console or the desktop. But I think the desktop app is a little bit easier to use as compared to the web console application. So the next phase now is for us to go into how we start using it. So the first thing you notice, the first thing I want to show you is the fact that when you set it up newly, it's going to start with your default agent. So there's going to be an agent. So that agent is actually called your default agent. So this one you see in here. So let me go to it and show you how it looks like. So that's the default agent. So default is here. So this is the agent that you will see. So let me create a new chat. So it's just going to look like this. So this is all you will see when you get started. So you're going to see the default agent. So you can start your journey. So in starting your journey means you want to actually let your agent create or modify this set of files. So you want to let your agent modify the agents.md, the soul.md, and the profile.md. So these files you're seeing here are other files that my agent created to remember what I'm doing. So, but these are the files that you need to modify. So we're going to start by creating an agent, and then I'm going to walk you through how I will set up an agent that does, for example, a specific task for me. So we're going to be setting a full stack developer that, let's say, for example, works on the Vue.js ecosystem. So we're going to build something that works on Vue.js. So it's going to be very good at Vue.js, Nox.js, and building mobile apps with a framework called Quasar. So that's what I want to set up. So I'm going to come to agents here. I'm going to come to agent management. I'm going to be creating a new agent. So here I'm going to give my agent a name. I'm going to say uh, Viewman or view MS, whatever. So I'm going to take this ID. This is going to be the ID of my agent. And I'm also going to give this one. In the description, I'm going to leave it for now. So globally, you can decide to set a model. So I will show you how to configure the model in a moment. So here, I'm just going to choose this model. And then I'm going to choose the GLM 5.1. So this is like my favorite model for coding. So in terms of like so here I is to specify the workspace where my agent is going to write to. So by default, if you leave it, it's going to give you this very kind of URL, a kind of location. So I'm going to choose this, and here I'm going to put desktop, and then within my desktop, I'm going to be putting it in View MS. So this is where I choose to put my apps for now. So this one is going to make it to the go to the home. Then for now, I'm just going to choose. So here I choose the skills. These are skills that I already have. So for scraping, I will choose this scrapping skill. So most of these skills they are building skills that came with Gwenpar. So for this one, I installed it. So I'm just going to add it. And I'm going to show you in a moment how to use this kind of thing as well. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to save. So now I'm going to switch to View MS. So let's start looking at each of the setting one after the other. So one of the things I'm going to do is show you how. So if you come to this shell, you can starting chatting with your agent, but your agent is not going to know a damn thing about what it needs to do. So the first thing you need to do is to give your agent a name, and this will help modify this file. So let's go and try to give our agent a personality. So what I normally do is that I use Gemini, so or any other tool I like, and I will kind of like specify that I want to create the personality. So this is all I'm going to do. So I'm creating an agent.md solo.md pro for my Gwenpar agent that is an expert in Vue.js. I don't want to do much for now. And then I'm just going to give it to Gemini. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy these files for now. I could do more on them, but I just want to copy these files for now. And what I'm going to do is that within my chat window now, I'm going to say, let's start the journey. So generally, the agent is going to ask me the Gwenpar is going to ask me uh, it's going to read those files. So if you notice here, it's actually reading the file. It's a first run rituals. So this is actually like the first run rituals for your agent. So it's just checking to know exactly. So first run rituals for new agent, bootstrapping a workspace manually. So now it's going to ask me like, who are you? What should I call myself? What should I call you? So for me, you can call me Eric. Call me Eric. Then I'm just going to paste the agent.md. And I'm also going to get the soul.md for now. So I'm not really doing too much right now. So I'm just going to paste the soul.md also here. And I'm going to do the same with the last part, which is the profile.md. So I'm just going to paste them here. So I'm just going to allow the agent to take this personality, and then we're going to move to something else. So now you see here, say, nice to meet you, Eric. He knows my name. He said, let's get this locked in. So you see, what it's trying to do now is modifying those files. And you could see here, it's saying uh, an AI agent that lives and breathes the Vue.js ecosystem. You see, direct developer to the no bluff, candid about trade-offs. You see, it's kind of like defining a personality for my agent. So the next thing you see, all set. Here is what we are logging. So these files have been modified accordingly the way I want. So one of the things you might likely do is um to kind of like so we've looked at files. So this is your updating files. The next thing we should look at is skills. So how do we uh add new skills to our agent? So when you come to the skill page, one of the thing about Gwenpar is that it provides you the ability to import from so many of these so let's say for example, let's go and look out for some skills in skill.sh. So we go to skill.sh, and then in skill.sh here we can search for some skills. So I could just put Vue.js, and you could see here that I'm having like a lot of skills with regarding Vue.js. Pinia. So you see what is happening here. So these are like the top four. So what I could do generally is that I could just give the agent the ability to install. So I could either install it by myself or I could just paste it here and ask it to install the sys. Ask it to install for me. Install for me top four. Let's say for an example, I'm just showing you. Or what I could do is that let's look, for example, for another skill. So another skill here could be quasar. So we could say quasar. So let me see whether there is. Look at it. I think this is not it. So okay, view ecosystem skills. So you see this one. So what I'm going to do is that take this URL. So I'm going to take this URL, and then when I come back to my agent console, what I'm going to do. So look at what is actually happening here. So I see the top four skills. You see, look at them. So now he wants to grab and install them. So you see what is happening. So the agent itself can install the skills. So it could install the particular skills for you. So what I will do now is that I'm just going to go to skills. I'm going to go to import hub and I'm going to paste the URL of the skill. So when I paste the URL of the skill and click import, so I'm going to make sure that I'm on skill.sh, and then I'm going to click on import. So what is going to happen is that you're going to see that this skill is going to be imported to be used within this agent. So let's give it some time and you see what will happen. So one of the things you could also do is that there are some packages where the skills are actually located in their GitHub repo. Let me give you an instance. Let's say I want to add something like a backend framework such as Hono.js. I could go and look for Hono.js skills MD. So maybe I'm going to see it directly. So look at what is happening here. So here I can see the skill file. So this is the skill.md file. So what I could do is that I could pull this URL completely. So let's go back to Gwenpar console. See, you see, it looks like our skill is still importing. So I think it's taking some time to install. So let's give it some time and come back to it and see. So now our skill has been installed. So you see, the skill was installed. So we could check it here. So we could search for our skill by the name view. And then you could see here that we have this quasar skill here. And you see, it's all here. So one of the things we could also do is that um, we could come here to import hub. And what I could also do is I could click on GitHub. So you could see that means I could specify exactly where it looks like. So you see, if you have a skill.md file, so it could also be imported. So I could just paste directly here. So this framework actually makes it very easy for you to work with this kind of thing. So look at what happens. I'll pull this skill immediately. And you see, uh, okay, so this has to do with GitHub API rate. So it has nothing to do with Gwenpar not being able to import it. So that is done. So that's all about skills. So we've seen how to modify the files. We move to skills. So let me talk about tools. For tools, these are the inbuilt tools you have. So Gwenpar will not be able to read a file, write a file, execute shell commands without this set of built-in tools. The next thing here is your MCP server. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. So what happens is that, let's say, for example, we want our agent to be able to, uh, let's say, work with mermaid diagrams. It should be able to draw some diagrams, or it should be able to produce PNG image. So we could look for, let's say, if there's an MCP for tools. Tools are like, let's say, for example, let me go for, like, for example, I was looking for an MCP tool for draw.io. So I want to be able to draw. So what I will do now is that I will come here and look at. So what will happen is that it will provide my agent with the capabilities to be able to draw via draw.io. So that's what I will tell you. So the installation is quite easy. You just look for a place like this and then you pull it. And then you just come to your console and then you click the client and just take everything that is here out of the picture and paste that. And that's it. You can access the tools of draw.io. That means your agent will be able to draw charts using this draw.io library. You can do that for anything. You can connect to Google Drive. You could do a lot of things using this MCP tool. So you could make this set of tools available for your model rather than the default tools. So for ACP, this has to do with an agent talking to an agent. For MCP, it's more like you're looking for tools. For ACP, it's more like you are looking for you want communication between two agents. So you see here, these are the building ones, and these are also I'm able to talk to OpenCode, Cloud Code, and even Codex and Gwen Code using my agent. So you can delegate jobs to all these agents to do some job for you on the background. So look at configuration for a moment. So what happens is that your agent could work for a long amount of time. And here, for example, you could set the maximum iteration that you want your agent to work. If it runs a shell command, you could also adjust like the shell command timeout. And then you could decide how you want for example, context manager backend, light, and then what kind of memory manager do you want? So you see there are different kind of memory management here, which is actually, so this REMI Lite is actually, if you go to the Gwenpar documentary, you could see that they have this memory library called here. So switching backend does not support hot reload, save and restart for it to take effect. So look at plan mode. So if you want your agent to actually be executing on plan mode, so here is where you actually configure. So there are a lot of things you could do here. For example, on long-term memory, tool execution security, this is really, really important. So here you could switch uh, that you don't want to approve any command. For example, to remove a file, those are risky commands that you will not want to allow by default. So here, if it's annoying for you and you want to kind of like uh, take the risks to do that. So here is where you actually adjust that. So most of your configuration about how your agent is going to work, how your agent is going to behave, is going to be done here. So the next thing is agent statistics. So in agent statistics, here is where you see your token stats. This is what you use. So for agent management, I've shown you earlier. So if you have a new model and you want to add a new model, so if it's custom, here's where you add it. For example, for me, I use this Zipu coding plan, ZAI. So here, so all I needed to do here was, it was already here. So I just needed to come to setting and paste my API key. And that was all. And when you test your API key, you come to models, the models will be listed. And then you could click this connection button here to test to see if your connection to your model is active. As you can see here, connection test was successful. But if you are adding a custom provider, so you could just add a custom provider, you put the display name, the API, and tell them whether it is OpenAI compatible or Anthropic compatible. And based on that, you will continue to the next phase where you can put your API key. So this is on this. So this is your skill pool. So I've talked about skill before, so it's almost the same thing. Your agents can actually broadcast skill for other agents to use. So if you have a skill, that is available to an agent. For example, like this anti-gravity skill, and I want this skill to be available to other agents. I could decide to say, what skill do I want to broadcast? Anti-gravity skill. To what agent? I could decide that I want to send it to Marketo, for example. This is an agent that does marketing for me. And I could press OK here. Now that agent will not have that skill. So you can broadcast skill across agent. So here you talk about the environment. So you could create an environment variables that your agent is going to use. So here is security I've talked about. So here you're actually doing it for all your agents. So token usage is something like just like your agent statistic specific to your agents. Then here you have backups. So here you could create backups. So you see, so you could create backup everything, including all your agent workspace, global settings, key pool, and secret. So you could create a backup for your agent so that you don't lose them. And this is actually one of the features that Gwenpar has that most of other agents will not have. So you have voice transcription here, so you could set this accordingly. So here you see transcribe audio to text using selected transcript provider. So auto, and then here you could see Whisper API, local Whisper. So runs locally on your live. So if you want to be using voice to work with Gwenpar, you could do this setting as well. So this is all about Gwenpar and how to set your agent to work effectively for you. So now we have everything done here. So I'm going to tell it now to build something for me. So, and I will just tell it, for example, I will say, build a CRM that is agentic in nature. Just try something random. Uh, Let me see the architecture in ASCII. So here we're going to see. So I'm going to give it some time now, and you see our agent is being put to work. So I don't want to take much of your time, but you could begin to see here that this is the agentic CRM architecture. And you see, this is the dashboard, this is Kanban, this is contact. You see, this is the agent orchestration layer, Pompinia, agent register, agent runner, task queue. So you could see lead score agent, email agent, deal couch agent, data enrichment agent, tax agent. And you could see what is happening behind the scene here. You could see LLM APIs. So this is how the sidebar is going to look like. And so I could modify it as much as I want. And then you could see our stack clearly defined. It's clearly using Nox Quasar for the UI, State Pinia. It has decided to use Postgres. Auth is using Better Auth. And this is how you could build a full stack agent. So one of the things I didn't show you is channels. So I could decide also to connect it to Telegram. I think the whole thing you need to do in Telegram is that you need to talk to Bootfather. So just go to Bootfather, create a new um, so when you go to Telegram, you need to look for something called Bootfather. And when you see Bootfather, you need to create a new agent and then it will generate a token for you. And immediately you put it here, you will be able to chat with your bot directly with your agent. And that is all. So I have some agents here that have actually been able to connect to Telegram and I'm chatting with them. So for example, if you look at this full stack agent and look at the sections here, okay, let me check something else. Um, so let's look at another agent here. For example, let's see this next builder. You see, it's connected to Telegram here. And via Telegram, I'm able to communicate with it. So I might do a follow-up video where I show you how to connect your Gwenpar to Telegram in order to make this video not too long. But it's actually a very simple process. So see you in my next video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please try and subscribe to my channel as I will keep keeping this amazing content coming.